What's up, guys? Welcome to the EmpowerYou Financial podcast. I am your host, Eva Palacios, CEO and founder of EmpowerYou Financial, where we teach you how to live life on your own terms through financial literacy and credit education. Now, this episode is dropping just a little over a week after the iPhone 15 has been released. So I want to talk about it because a couple of people have reached out to me asking my opinion about whether or not this is a good purchase, is the dollar amount justifiable, or just really overall my thoughts. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is actually a great topic to talk about. Most importantly, because we as a family just switched our cell phone service in July. And I didn't even talk about it. I mean, I may have posted it here and there on my stories and stuff like that, but I really didn't talk about it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Yes, we're going to talk about the iPhone 15, but let's back it up. First and foremost, guys, you have to really just understand the price tag on gadgets and really learn how to break down what that overall expense looks like and is it justifiable. So let me back it up a little bit. For those of you who don't know, your girl is frugal. Like, we don't go out buying the coolest gadgets, the brand new cars, the brand new watches. For those of you who have been following me on my social media, you know I talk about my broken watch all the time. I don't even know what series it is or whatever you call it. All I know is I got it 4 years ago and I've had it. And it's even fallen, and it's even shattered, put a case on it. And in my opinion, it still works perfectly fine. There is no need to spend a couple $100s on a new watch. But anyways, that's neither here or there. I share this because I am not the type of person that goes out and just buys the new gadget just because the world says it's cool. So let me kind of share a story and a roadmap on my iPhone journey. I can't even remember to tell you the first time I got the iPhone, but I will say this. I have never gotten a brand new iPhone every single time an iPhone was released. Now, I will say this. I have always been an iPhone. Heck, before the iPhone, I was a BlackBerry. Who remembers a BlackBerry? Do me a favor, drop it in the comments below if you remember the BlackBerries. And even before that, I don't even know what I was. I think it was a Motorola. Remember the little chirp feature? Yep, had one of those too. But anyways, long story short, I've been rocking with iPhone for years. But in my financial opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's talk about it. I remember when I got the first iPhone, my first iPhone was an iPhone 4. After that iPhone 4, of course, they released more iPhones. I didn't jump until my next iPhone after the iPhone 4 was a 7. So I don't know how many iPhones there were in between. I don't know if they go in order. I don't really care. But all I knew is I had to upgrade from a 4, and I waited it out until the iOS platform no longer worked on that device. And this is where they get you, guys. This is where they get you, because as they bring out better devices, as the world shifts and technology grows and improves, sometimes that software no longer works with that device. So for me, that's the only time I actually upgrade my electronics, is when it no longer can function properly based on all of the updates. So I can clearly tell you, I went from an iPhone 4 to an iPhone 7. After that 7, I did go to an 8, but I did not buy the 8 brand new. The reason I actually switched over to an 8 is because I'm trying to remember my dates, but I remember in 2019, when I walked away from my first network marketing company and I jumped into another, they were offering cell phone service. But the only way to utilize that cell phone service, I had to have a phone that was unlocked. Now, we're going to kind of get techie here and there, but I promise you, we're going to all come back to it with regards to dollars and cents. So Back then I was with T-Mobile, 5 lines with T-Mobile. We were paying like $350 a month. It was outrageous. Anyways, went to a company, found out they offered services for cell phones. And I thought to myself, okay, like let's do some research and let's take a look and see what this cell phone service offers. You know, who is the provider? What does the network look like? You know, what is the compatibility? And all I heard, honestly, all I heard, guys, was 4 lines for $99. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. And yeah, back it up. We only had 4 lines because Mateo was too young. He didn't need no phone. So it was just me, hubby, Desmond, and William, the 2 oldest, right? So 4 lines with T-Mobile for like $330 a month plus tax. And then I heard 4 lines for $99. And I thought to myself, what in the world? I can cut my bill practically by a third and save a bunch of money. But then I thought to myself, well, how good is this service? So I did research. And lo and behold, this particular service was still utilizing the T-Mobile network. It's just, it wasn't T-Mobile in terms of the bill. So let me go ahead and just share with you who this is because this company still exists and they're called Flash Mobile. Flash Mobile works very similar to your Boost Mobile or some of the other cell phone services that may give you 4 lines for $99, which many of you are probably thinking those services don't work. But let me tell you this, guys. When I switched from T-Mobile to Flash Mobile, and if you guys are interested and you want that hookup, do me a favor, drop it in the chat, shoot me a DM. I'll send you the link and I'll get you the same deal because your girl still has customers on that platform. Now, 4 lines, $99 plus tax. That got me unlimited data. Whatever. They don't even charge for minutes anymore. But all I care about was unlimited data, right? Unlimited data. And I was like, let's do it. But the only way that I was able to connect our devices is our devices had to be compatible devices. Well, back then we had old phones because I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But this is where you got to get good at looking at the numbers. We were paying over let's just pretend $300 a month for 4 lines with T-Mobile. Converting over to Flash Mobile, 4 lines for $100, that would be a $200 a month savings. So then I thought, okay, if we were to buy phones, what is the price tag per phone? And how quickly can we make our money back simply by saving money per month? So let's break it down. I mean, back then, iPhones weren't crazy like they are now. Back then, I want to say, and again, we didn't buy brand new phones. We bought gently used phones. So when we basically upgraded and we all got 7s and 8s, actually, I was the only one with the 8. Everybody else got the 7. I want to say they were roughly about $300 to $400 used. So then let's pretend they were all $400 times 4 devices. Now we're looking at $1,600 total on 4 devices. If we're going to save $200 per month, in how many months would we be able to recoup that? Not just recoup the $1,600, but now we have better devices, more reliable devices that in essence, because of the technology, the speed, the iOS, we were able to function with them better. So I thought to myself, you know what, this is a no-brainer. I would rather invest the money to pay for the devices now and then recoup that investment every single month because I switched services. Now, fast forward time, guys. I was with Flash Mobile from 2019 to 2023. We're talking 5 years of 4 lines for $100 plus tax. We way more than enough made our initial investment back by paying those devices. So whenever I look at things like new releases on devices, I'm really analyzing the monies. I'm analyzing the dollars spent. And if I were to spend this money, how can I make my money back? So let's fast forward time because we are no longer with Flash Mobile. And why did we make that transition? Why did we make the change? Honestly, because now in between then, we did upgrade from 7s and 8s to the littles. Well, they're not little anymore, but the littles who had 7s, we upgraded them to XRs. And then we got the 11s and 12s. Now, long story short, when we still upgraded, we still made money because we turned in our devices and got credit on the new devices. So guys, I hope you're following along with me. If you're thinking about upgrading your devices, number one, let's research who is the company that's going to pay you the most money to trade in your old device to basically lessen the painful expense on the new device. Do your research and see what company is going to pay you the most. Number one. Number two, if you were to switch services, what is going to be the level of service you're going to receive? Not just customer service wise, but network wise. Are you going to have constant, connected conversations, or are you going to be in a bunch of dead zones? Like, let's be real. And then obviously, number three, the monthly price that you would be paying if you were to switch over, is it more or is it less? See, these are the things that constantly go through my mind when iPhone or whoever rolls out a new device or a gadget. How can we make as much money by doing trade-ins, or how can we save as much money by shifting plans and lowering that monthly expense? Because let's be real. I mean, we all have phones. The question is how much are we paying for those devices? So, did we have to upgrade from XRs over to now what we have are all 14s? Well, let's talk about that. Because my youngest, he didn't have, I don't even know. I think he had a 16 gigabyte phone. There was no memory. And the new iOS couldn't keep up. Same with William. It couldn't keep up. I would send them text messages. They wouldn't get it. And it's not like the kids were like, Mom, and fibbing about it. No, I would literally send them something and they'd be right there not getting it. So I thought to myself, you know what? From a safety measure, from a parent measure, I want to be sure my kids are well connected, no excuses as to why they're not getting my messages or my phone calls. And that right there to me is a justifiable reason to upgrade your devices because, again, the system can no longer keep up with that old device. So we recently switched from Flash Mobile, 4 lines, $99 plus tax. And now we switched over to Verizon, which if y'all have been following my podcasts, couple of episodes, I talked about Verizon being the Mercedes-Benz of the cell phone industry and they're super expensive, but the level of service, let's really talk about that. Here's why I switched. Couple of reasons. Number one, we did need to upgrade our devices. Well, they needed to upgrade our devices. I didn't really care about my device. But I had Desmond, my oldest, research. He was actually the one that was like, Mom, it's time we get new phones. And then he has this amazing, he's a sales guy. He's like, Mom, and he broke it all down. Here's why we need new devices. And I'm like, okay, besides you telling me why, based on features, based on technology, based on whatever, let's do some work and let's write down the numbers. I need you to research all of the cell phone providers. I need you to look up what the monthly payment is for the service on all 4 of our devices. Also, who is offering the best trade-in value for our old devices? And are there any incentives by transferring your service? All I got to say is I was very impressed with Desmond because he was like, oh, okay, let's break it down how Mom is able to process and what is acceptable to her to make a good financial decision. But guys, here's the silver lining. I'm teaching him about money. I'm teaching him about finances. I'm teaching him to shop around. I'm teaching him how to get the best bang for your buck and also look at value. So basically, it came down to Verizon, and here's why. Now, I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but when we switched over, it was July of 2023. And when we switched over, the two XRs, they gave us a trade-in value of $800 a piece. For the 11 and the 12, they gave us $1,000 for each device. Now, we upgraded to 14s, and I believe the 14s were like 1,200, depending on your memory, right? They were somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200. Desmond ended up getting the Pro Max, which is the bigger one. It's more expensive. I got the one with the most memory. Why? Because I do a lot of content creation. That's a whole nother subject. But I do a lot of content creation, so I need a lot of memory in my device. For the littles, we got, the lowest memory. They got the new phones. Hey, that's what you get. Don't throw a fit type situation. But long story short, we went with Verizon because number one, they gave us the most money trade-in value for our devices. Number two, the monthly payment for service, when you set it up on auto pay, they take off $10 off per line. So there goes a $40 savings. I want to say that monthly, not including the device payments, because, there's still a little bit of balance that we got to pay for, but not including the device payments, our monthly is about $150 to $160 a month, which is only about $50 to $60 more than our other plan. Now you're probably thinking, okay, wait a minute, Eva, you talk about saving money, you just went backwards real quick. Now you're paying more. Here's why. Because the lifestyle that we have now is a little bit different. We are traveling more, and with Verizon, they do also offer international service. Where Flash Mobile, you can go to Mexico and you still be good. But if you go anywhere else, not going to work. So for a safety precaution, as well as just the ability to have the flexibility to use your devices without restrictions, we have grown to a capacity to where we're traveling more. And I want to be sure that wherever I travel, I and my kids will always have service. And there's times where, even though we went to Cancun and we're on the resort and the other service, it was still choppy. The moment we left the resort, we didn't have service, which meant we had to all stay together. Otherwise, I don't know about y'all, but when we don't have our cell phones, they don't work, we in trouble. When you're on resorts or you're in hotels, Wi-Fi is great. But it was, hey, we're leaving the resort. Now nobody has service. That's very scary. So that was one of the number one reasons why we upgraded, was because we are traveling more internationally and we want to, in essence, make sure that we have that sense of security while we travel. Now, if you're not traveling or you've got littles or kids, teenagers, guys, there are services out there where you can still get the 4 lines for $99. You do not have to be all fancy all the time. Let's really get good at our monies. Let's get good at looking at how much we're paying per month, and is that justifiable? Now, I will say this. Many of you are with the same cell phone service provider, and you're not even considering switching or shopping around because you're so comfortable. Guys, nothing good happens inside the comfort zone. Let's get good at shopping around and let's see who is willing to give us a better level of service, maybe a cheaper monthly payment, maybe credits, trade-in values to get the new devices, right? Because you don't have to always throw down full price on these gadgets as long as you're willing to do the research. Now, I will say this, ever since switching over to Verizon, in my opinion, internationally, beautiful. My kids can track my whereabouts, making sure mom's still alive out there. That's gravy. I will say this, though. Verizon, I'm not happy about your service inside my house. And that's a biggie. Like if I don't have my device connected to Wi-Fi, I don't have service in my house. And I'm thinking to myself, you are, if anybody, the most expensive, but I don't even get service in my house. So this is another tip, guys. If you are thinking about switching services, make sure you go onto their website. Make sure you go onto their website and you look at the coverages and you look at wherever there are dead zones. Because if you're in a place that you spend majority of the time in and you can't have service and the internet goes down, that's a safety issue. So these are the things that we want to think about. But aside from that, I operated with Flash Mobile for 5 years and was perfectly fine. A lot of my friends and family are still currently on the service and they absolutely love it. I will also add this. If you're thinking about switching services, going from one company to another, and you currently owe money on your device, a lot of these cell phone companies, they lock your device, meaning you can't even jump to a different carrier. That's huge, guys. So that's another thing that you want to research, because if you're considering moving over, you may not be able to move over until you pay off that device. Then you have to take a look at those numbers. How much will it cost you to pay off those devices to then be able to submit to the new company so that they can give you their trade-in credit so you then can upgrade to your device? Many of you don't even know that that's a thing. But this is how cell phone companies keep you in contracts. This is how they keep you from jumping ship when you're no longer happy with them. So I encourage you guys, do your research ahead of time and lay out all of your numbers on the table and make sure it makes financial sense. One tip I will say, Verizon doesn't lock their phones. So if you are a Verizon customer right now and you are paying on a device, you can jump ship to any other company. Let's just say the 4 lines for $99 deal. You can definitely switch over. However, Verizon will still send you a bill for your device payment. They may not send you a bill for the monthly service payment, but they will send you a bill that has the remaining balance of your devices. So this is another thing you want to be mindful of, guys. And let's be real. For those of you who have cell phone services in collections on a credit report, 9 times out of 10, this is why you have unpaid balances. So if you're ever wondering, like, wait a minute, I paid that bill and I transferred over, I don't owe them any money. Chances are that remaining balance is sitting on your credit report is most likely due to device payments that were unpaid because you transferred over and nobody ever explained it to you. So guys, I hope I'm dropping nuggets. I hope I'm dropping some nuggets to where light bulbs are going off and you're really thinking about whether or not you should switch and in essence upgrade your device and get the new iPhone 15. Now, I just got the 14. I don't plan for years to get another cell phone. Like, my phone does all that it needs all that it needs to be done with. That's all I need. I am nothing, like, all I cared about was the memory in the camera. Why? Because I'm a content creator. I shoot, I post. Guess what, guys? If you have a business, that is a business expense. I pay my kids to help me edit the podcast, do stuff for the business. Guess what? I get to write off that bill. So for those business owners that are out there or aspiring business owners, yes, this is your means of communication with your clients. This is you posting your business on social media. This is a very well reason to have a write-off within your business. But again, you still got to pay the dollars up front to get it. On the back end, you can have the write-offs on it. So let me go back and let's talk about the visit with Verizon. Because one of the other things I thought to myself, and really why I didn't pull the trigger so fast or why I kept delaying, because Desmond was literally talking me into this for like 3 weeks. And I'm just like, I don't want to do anything, was because I'm like, I have so much stuff in my phone. I don't know if everything is going to make it to the new device. Like, I don't want to lose stuff. I don't want to have to reinstall apps. I don't want to have to do my logins all over again. Guys, it was super seamless. And shout out to the Verizon guy in Lodi, right there in the little Costco Plaza, because he was amazing. Super, super high level of customer service, explained everything well, had all of the devices lined up, ported everything over. Like, he was literally a magician. And I thought to myself, level of service. I'm going to be real. The 4 lines of 99, boy, I got to chat with them on the internet. Like, I can't even call to get with the live person unless it's certain business hours. So, like, God forbid, like, you need help, they ain't the ones. But I will say this, I never needed to call them, so that wasn't even a situation. I didn't even care about that. Online access, viewed my bill, it was on auto pay, good enough for me. But now, having the experience of paying a little bit more for quality of service, now I understand the brand. Now I understand why they operate the way that they do, how they operate the way that they do. Now, when I walked in there, before deciding what we were going to do, I did have the conversation. The conversation of, should this bill be in my personal name or should it be under my company name? So for those of you guys who have LLCs or corporations, know that you can be able to have service in your business name. But again, side by side, lay out what are the pros and what are the cons. I went with a personal plan, and here's why. With the personal plan, and I don't know why, but with the personal plan, our trade-in value dollar amounts were more than with the corporate plan. Number one. Number two, the international travel, they have international travel plan where I believe, and I'm so new to this, forgive me if I don't get it entirely correct, but I believe twice a month or 3 times a month, you get like international free days. And then after that, any additional day is like $10. On the personal, this don't make no sense. On the personal side, I got more free international days than I did on the corporate side. And that don't make no sense to me, because I'm like, well, as a business, you would think you would travel more and therefore they would give you more perks and savings on that side. Nope. No, they don't. So while the world says, make sure you put everything in the business name, put it in the business name, grow business credit, grow business relationships. Yes, cell phone service is definitely one way to do it. But guys, look at those numbers, because I didn't get the credits. I didn't get the upfront trade-in value was less on the corporate side. I was going to spend more if I traveled internationally. And I think there were certain other discounts. Oh, I forgot about this. Simply by switching over, they were giving us a $400, I think, either a $300 or a $400 Verizon credit on the personal side. On the business side, they weren't giving that credit out. So in essence, I had more savings, more money, leaving it into my personal name than it was putting it under the business name. At the end of the day, guys, I can still write it off. I am still making payments on that. It is for my business. I can still write it off. But don't get consumed with what the internet says or what people are telling you to put everything in the business name to build that business credit up. Because in my opinion, financially, it needs to make sense. And for me, financially, was leaving it on the personal side so we can take advantage of all of those perks versus putting it into the business side. So these are the things, right? These are the things that you need to talk about. And I kind of, went everywhere with it. But I hope you're taking notes. I'm hoping you're taking notes. I've hoped I've added value to you. And I hope that should you decide to get the new iPhone or to upgrade your service, upgrade your device, switch service, whatever you decide to do your research. Compare the numbers. Compare the savings. Look at the pricing. Put in the work. Put in the work so that you can save yourself some money. But if you are going out and getting that new iPhone 15, do me a favor, drop it in the comments below. Let me know what you decided to do. Let me know, because of this episode, you're saving money or anything that you've learned along the way because of the information that I've shared. All right, guys, with that being said, I hope I've added value to you. Please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends and family. And I look forward to helping you live life on your own terms.
Take a look at what you see, what I become. It ain't hard to tell. Young legend, I'm an icon.